continue. Their meal program is very strong. In November, they did the Veterans Luncheon, and they also did the Thanksgiving Luncheon, and their Christmas Luncheon is coming up this Thursday of this week. They continue to have a number of special events. They recently had the flashlight candy cane hunt. Of course, we did the tree lighting. It was a week late due to weather, but it was great. And also at the meeting, they acknowledged, so North Branford Little League is going to put in batting cages at Memorial Coulter Field. They have the approval from Public Works and Fran Marola as to the location of that. So in total, this is a $15,000 donation that will be coming to the town. $10,000 of it will be coming from Little League, and Tilcon is also donating materials, which total about $5,000. So that's the total donation of $15,000 to the town. Do we have a policy on accepting donations? Do you know?
Glad you asked that. We've actually been in development of just such a policy, and we're pretty close to having something for the council to look at, actually.
Can we write something up, like a thank you to Tilcon and the Little League, just to acknowledge this donation on here, since we don't have an official policy yet, so we can acknowledge that. And that's it. Police Commission.
Police Commission was a special meeting yesterday, a very fun meeting. It was a swearing-in ceremony by Mayor Angeloni. We have two new officers, Anthony Parati and Nicholas Trevino Martinez. It was really a very nice event, and I was very pleased.
And I must say, so Nicholas is fluent in Spanish, so that will definitely help the force, having someone fluent in Spanish. And Anthony is from East Haven, and he was a para in the school system, and he coached sports, so he has a great connection to the community. And I hope they will bring a lot to the force, and I wish them the best of luck in the academy. So it's great.
I think it was also nice there were so many police officers.
There was, yes.
Supporting the new folks.
Yes, that was nice. Fire Commission?
No.
Okay. Planning and Zoning?
Planning and Zoning met on December 14th. Standard meeting, some property improvements at different locations. There was a piece that I arrived a bit late, so I don't know what took place. Maybe Dave, you can help me on this. What took place on 4A, which was the 121 Mill Road R40 zone? It's on the
121 Mill Road was an oversized garage. Prior, they recently changed the zoning regulations so that if you wanted to have a garage over 1,000 square feet, you needed to get a special permit. Prior to that, people would have to get a variance.
okay.
So this was the first application under the new zoning regulations, allowing an oversized garage by special permit.
Right, and it was approved. I came in when it was being voted on, but I didn't.
It was approved. We changed the regulations because getting a variance for an oversized garage, there was no hardship, so there was no real reason to allow the commission to grant the variance.
Okay. Thank you. That's it. On the planning and zoning.
Okay, great. Finance Committee met last week, Tuesday. All of the items we discussed are on the agenda later on tonight. There, on one of the items, it's under appropriation transfers for 23-24. It's a new program that our assessor and town planner will be talking to us about and giving us an update on that, and that will come within a vote. And everything else is on the agenda here, so we'll get to it later in the meeting. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee.
Today is a very exciting day for our communication system. First of all, the power line at Homeland Tower, and the button was pushed today, and our new radio system is in place for Police Department, Public Works, Board of Ed, and it will be in place for the Fire Department, if I'm correct, around February. They still need to do some training. So everyone's very excited. I talked to the chief when he was in his driveway in Branford, and he said he could hear just as well as if he'd been right into the police department. So that's really a nice sign that it's state of the art and it's already working well. Finally.
Great. And Homeland, the tower in
The tower
is, but that's only for.
only for public safety. The
Yes,
president
okay.
isn't on there yet.
Okay, all right. Just so in case people are thinking that their cell service will be better.
I know, a lot of people have that question.
Not quite yet. Okay, and the last committee report, inland wetlands.
Inland Wetlands meeting was on December 13th. The construction of a contractor's storage facility was tabled to the next meeting after quite a bit of discussion. And however, they did approve a lot line adjustment and construction of a shared driveway for 2 lots. That was it.
Okay, thank you. All right, on to town manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, Town Council. First, Councilor Diamond already reported on the 2 towers, so I can skip that because she did it excellently, and I appreciate that. Since we last met, we had 2 significant storm events that have had impacts here in town. We had a significant system come through Sunday into Monday, December 10th to the 11th, which brought heavy rains and nearly 6 inches of rain here in a short time frame with high winds. We had some significant flooding and some resulting water rescues from stranded vehicles, luckily without further incident or injury. Our second storm brought another 3 to 4 inches more rain and higher winds, and then exactly a week later, Sunday into Monday, the 17th to the 18th. This storm gave us a little less rain, but higher winds, accompanied with the saturated ground, resulted in about a dozen tree limb falls that impacted roadways here in town. We had a few isolated power outages as a result, but there were pockets in Northford that remained without power into today. With Wallingford Electric pledging they would be back up before the day is out. I'd like to acknowledge the great work done by our police department, fire department, and EMS, and our public works department during both of these unusual storm events. Their quick actions and responses to multiple simultaneous events greatly reduced the overall impact of these storm events to our residents. And I'd also like to acknowledge our emergency management director, Jim Buck, who did a great job staying on top of the latest with the storm to advise us and keeping open lines of communication with utility companies on responses to incidents. We recently conducted 2 ribbon-cutting events at We Fix It and Sweet Poppies on December 7th. These events were set up by Assistant Town Manager Rory Burke, and I was pleased to join Mayor Rosa Angeloni and State Rep. Lynn Candelora to welcome these 2 new businesses. We Fix It is a new cell phone and device repair shop, and Sweet Poppies is an allergen-friendly bake shop specializing in cakes, muffins, donuts, and other treats that are gluten and allergen-free. And they're both located near each other in the same plaza as Good Vibes Nutrition at 1717 Foxen Road. We have more of these events planned in the near future, and as always, we invite all members of the Town Council to join us for them as your schedules permit. The town's annual tree lighting event was held Friday, December 8th at Tucket Valley Park. The event is put on by our Park and Rec Department in partnership with North Branford Rotary, with support from our Public Works Department and Police Department. This year we had ice sculpting, marshmallow toasting, hay rides, musical entertainment, food trucks, hot chocolate and cookies from the Rotary Club, a petting zoo, and Santa. Kids were also able to mail a letter to Santa, Mrs. Claus, or a favorite elf or reindeer. I did want to note that Cliff Potter, an icon of this event with his hay rides, did have a fall at the event where he suffered some injuries. He's currently recovering at home, and I know you will all join me in wishing him the best for a full and speedy recovery. Last week, I had the pleasure of attending the Tucket Historical Society's fundraiser for the Little Red Schoolhouse at Mill Pond. It was joined by Mayor Angeloni, Councilors Zampano, Abelson, Goad, and Diamond. It was a terrific event put on by fundraising chair and Mill Pond owner Andy Bizzuto, and had about 150 attendees, all supporting the restoration of an iconic piece of North Branford history. Our second annual town employee Christmas party was held on Thursday, December 14th at the Gathering at Mill Pond. We had a terrific turnout of about 40 employees. Thanks to the Mill Pond and Andy Pizzuto for providing great service at a terrific venue. And thanks to both Mayor Angeloni and Deputy Mayor McMillan for joining us that evening for holiday cheer. Last night, I had the honor to attend, alongside Mayor Angeloni and Councilor Diamond and Miller, the swearing in of 2 brand new police officers, as Councilor Diamond and Mayor Angeloni mentioned earlier. They're the first of the 2 new hires for the COPS grant the council recently approved. And these 2 new recruits, Anthony Parati and Nicholas Trevino Martinez, will be attending the State Police Academy on January 5th. And I know you all join me in welcoming these 2 new officers to the North Branford family and wish them the best as they begin their challenging careers in law enforcement. Some remaining upcoming holiday programs at Park and Rec that require pre-registration include, as the mayor mentioned, December 21st, we have our senior holiday luncheon at Stanley T. Williams Center, with main course sponsored by the Potato and Corn Festival and dessert sponsored by the Rotary Club. And also December 26th to 28th, parents take note, winter break camp for school children ages K through 6. We also have 20 houses participating in our annual Light Up North Branford house decorating competition. Prizes are going to be awarded in 4 categories, and a map of the participating homes is now available online at nbrecreation.com for those who want to take a ride and see some of the amazing decorations and neighbors. As this is our last meeting before the holidays, I want to take this opportunity to wish a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year to all of you and our town residents. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Okay, on to Permanent Project Building Committee.
Sure. The Police Department EOC project, the roofing and facade work is continuing, with sheetrock expected to begin in the next few weeks. The building is now 95% watertight and will be fully watertight shortly. North Branford High School work on the punch list is continuing. The masonry work on phase 2 also continues. And with MBIS, there's nothing much new to report here. The brick repointing continues, and as I've reported before, only quiet work is being done while the school's in session. They'll be doing some exploratory work over the winter break, which is pre-work to map out the steel work for the next summer work. And that concludes my report on PBBC.
Okay. Anthony, is the roof project at STW closed out? Do we know how much money is left in that project?
I can check around.
Can we do that for Finance Committee for January, so that we can decide what's left and how we go about allocating that?
Sure.
Thank you. COVID updates.
Not much new to report on this front. Council's already received this month's EPI report from East Shore District Health at your last meeting. Weekly COVID transmissions are up to about 10.1 per 100,000 people in New Haven County, and 4.7% of all hospital admissions being COVID related. The federal government has begun to make available free test kits to all schools, and as any new COVID clinics become available, I'll keep you informed. Flu clinics remain available from East Shore District Health and can be scheduled by contacting them directly.
Okay, great.
Mr. Mayor, I was the one who would ask, but I mean, sometimes whatever he wants to decide, but I was just looking for more update that. We don't have to keep this on here every meeting if only if certain things come up or whatever, but
Sure.
I was just looking for like a one-time update, so.
Gotcha.
Okay. Next item is Walnut Lane, Lanes Pond Road Project update.
Right, so Councilor Miller had requested an update on this project, and I'm pleased to bring up our town engineer, Victor Benny. It's a great opportunity to give all of you an update on where we are with this project up to date.
Good evening. So I did prepare a progress report over the weekend with some input from Public Works Department. It should have made it into the packet you have in front of you, but unfortunately didn't make it onto the email packet earlier last week. I'm gonna try to avoid just reviewing it. It is a page and a half of detail. It's quite detailed and, somewhat interesting with some of the history of the project there too. So I'm gonna try to give you my Clip Notes version, if that's still actually a thing these days, I don't know. The storm drain system itself was installed with the residential subdivision development, which was from an approval of 1975. The brook that feeds that storm drainage system to the south is approximately 2,000 feet long, and of course receives water runoff from that watershed that serves that area. The enclosed stormwater system itself is about 500 feet long. So basically what they did there, which would probably not be well advised these days is they pipe a brook, and they piped probably too long of a section of a brook, and a brook that now we find has a tendency to stir up some material and feed that into the pipe network. So over the years, Public Works had varied success with cleaning the pipe system when there were blockages in it, and they relied, a lot of the times they relied on just the system self-flushing itself out during successive storms. So along the time there between when it was built and now, Public Works and some other entities have added catch basins, a storm manhole, and a sediment structure along various points along the length of the system. Those act as some clean-out points for them, but there still are long lengths of the system where we have blockages that, you know, like I said, over time they hope those blockages kind of clear themselves, and they use the clean-out points to continuously clean the system, and that is sometimes on a monthly or bi-monthly basis over the course of the season, and especially more often during the rainy season. The recent regional trends in the uptick in rain events that we get, that Mike Downs has kind of presented you with the last two storms we have, these are coming more frequent at a higher intensity and a shorter duration. And what that's doing is it's just, you know, kicking up more debris along the length of that brook that feeds that enclosed system. Public Works and the engineering department, we've worked together to come up with a rehabilitation plan that we all have agreed on. We had some other plans that we kind of tossed around the room and tried to figure out, well, you know, what would be the problem with some of these plans. But the one we came up with, we feel, is a plan where we're not going to be able to have to worry about that enclosed system getting as clogged up as it did before. The proposal is to remove and replace the clogged pipe sections, reroute certain pipe sections in the storm drain system, and replace certain storm drain structures, and add and rebuild other damaged sections of some of those storm drain structures, and then bring Walnut Lane back to obviously a freshly paved condition. The engineering department has designed the rehabilitation plan, worked on construction sequence notes, details, and a materials list. We've worked with the Public Works Department to work with our on-call engineer to develop an existing conditions mapping plan, and then a subsequent site plan that matches the design that I worked on. This site plan is being presented to a contractor through the CROG has a program that's a on-call bid program, and it's competitively bid program. So we're working through that CROG program to kind of cover the competitive bid aspect of our requirements for that. The vendor that we're planning on working with that has been previously approved by the CROG through this program we've worked with before. Public Works has a history of working with them, so we're comfortable with the contractor. We're just still in the phase where we're working through that CROG program to get a quote on what the actual cost will be for the construction sequence. And last but not least on there, I do have an application process that I have to go through with the Wetlands Commission. I've already basically reviewed the application with Dave Perkins, and it is a step that we need to take, but I think he understands that, overall in the whole process of this, it's going to be an improvement that actually will protect the pond, which is now receiving overflows from the storm drain system. Every time it fails, the murky, muddy water comes out through the catch basins in the system and overflows into the pond. So trying to avoid that as much as possible in the design that we have. So that's about it, if I said it in a nutshell. And if you have any questions on anything?
Question. When do they plan to have a timeline and they'll start this process? It's drive it up there.
Right, yeah. So
it looks like a war zone.
So we're kind of at the point where this is the time of year where we anticipated that we'd have a chance to start construction. Unfortunately, it's the time of year where we're expecting things to dry up and freeze up, and all we're getting is rainstorms every other week. So we really need to wait to a point where we can have a dry stream bed. And if we showed you some of the videos of things that are happening when it actually rains, there's no contractor or pump system shouldn't say it that way. There are, but it's not advisable to rely on a pump system at that point when you know, opened up a road and exposed all of the utilities below to, there's actually a sewer line underneath the road in that section there, which I've put through a few video inspections through the company that services our sewer system. So we're kind of gonna have to wait for things to dry up a little bit, catch a dry period where we can, you know, hope that it's not gonna rain, and then take a phased approach to this where, you know, we do things in a certain sequence that provides protection to the system. If there is a problem, we'll have overflow points where, you know, even during construction, we can rely on some overflow points to protect the road. Right. Yeah, so the pipes that you see there, it's a 42-inch plastic pipe, which is one of those things that's not really an off-the-shelf item. And Dan Celentano, our Assistant Director of Public Works, kind of have the foresight here to say, well, we're definitely going to need that with the design. Even while I was working on the design, he went forward and sourced that out. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only location where our vendor could find that was it out in New Jersey? New York?
Yeah,
and so, you know, we made the decision to, well, let's get those on site now so we don't have to worry about, you know, one in particular material holding us up from actually doing the project. So they're there to avoid, you know, they're there to avoid kind of shipping and rerouting them to the location when we need them, so.
So it was a false sense that the project was starting, kind of?
It's forward progress, yeah.
Soon, and then it turns out, you know, driving through there through these storms, of course, I'm working in the middle of the night.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, I thought this would have been going, but maybe.
Yeah, you can imagine, I mean, you see the flow coming out of the structures there.
The person that lives in that ranch up there, where the catch basins, the ground's coming up at the end of her driveway.
It's definitely heaving. It's also, you know, we've talked with the contractors that we kind of quizzed on the different scenarios that we had for fixing it. It's actually in a good location where we can just close down the road and not on either end and still provide access to both sides of the subdivision and just give the contractor a chance during the course of the day not to worry about, you know, letting traffic back and forth through. It just slows the contractor down. So, you know, we're hoping that a little relief from the constant rainstorms that we seem to be getting, and maybe in this case a little freeze would be a good thing for us.
So is the contractor ready to go whenever the weather conditions?
They should be. Like I said, we're still working through that PROG program to get a quote from the contractor, so we're at that step of the process. But they recently did indicate that they're kind of, you know, open to start things when we're ready, when weather permits. They did agree to. Once they saw the video of things happening during a rain event, they said, oh yeah, there's no way we're bringing pumps in here to deal with that. So, but the phased approach does kind of lead us to working on certain sections of the system, even if things aren't, I mean, we're not looking for a permafrost here. We're just looking for some of the flow in that brook to slow down a little bit. We can start a phased approach to this and kind of pick our way through it if we have to.
Thank you. Okay. All right. On to item 6, citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence. Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to resignation and appointments. A, reappointment of Gerald Fischbach to the Conservation and Inland Wetlands Committee, term to expire 12/31/25. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion is made by Councilor Diamond, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Okay, motion carries. The next one is reappointment of Elizabeth Kaplan to the Economic Development Commission, term to expire 12/31/26.
Motion.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, second by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. And the third one is reappointment of John Onofrio to the Park and Recreation Commission, term to expire 12/31/26. Motion made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Miller. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. On to item 8, unfinished business, discussion and action, review of proposed application for nonprofits to apply for ARPA funds.
All right, so, Mayor and Councilors, this is a revision before you tonight of the ARPA application, the draft ARPA application provided to you at the last meeting of this month. And essentially, I laid out in the cover memo the changes that were made based on discussions that we had here at the council level and with the town attorney and our finance director. Essentially, the changes in the form are moving the eligibility date from March 1st of 21 to March 1st of 2020 to better encapsulate the impacted dates of the pandemic, the elimination of the need for disclosing the DUNS federal ID number, and adding the brief description of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act in the applicable section.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion?
So if you're removing that number, what are we doing to make sure that we're verifying that they're not?
That would be their 501 designation. That's remained in the form. The DUNS number is a number set aside. And actually, yeah, it's related to the federal grant receipt, which we determined isn't needed. Right, yes.
And how are we gonna publicize it?
I would say we would do it the same way we've been doing other things, like with the Veteran Service Commission. We'll put it out and publicize it in the traditional media, our social media, digitally, and put out the news alerts that we're doing this.
And then on the website too, of
Yep.
course. Okay. All right. Do I have a motion as prepared on in our packet here?
For the ARPA funds?
Here, well, I'll just read it and if someone can move it. So do I have a motion that the town council of the town of North Branford hereby approves the presented draft application for nonprofits to apply for grants from North Branford's designated ARPA pool for nonprofits?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion was made by Councilor Abelson, seconded by Councilor Palatia. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Next item is the meeting schedule for 2024. So at our last council meeting, there was a proposed schedule for next year, and there was some discussion, and there was a consensus among the council to go to one meeting per month, which would be the third Tuesday of the month. And if we need to have special meetings and call other meetings, we would try to keep them for the most part on a Tuesday, because that is designated as a council day. I know in the past we have had some brief council meetings. If we had to take a vote on something, it might not necessarily be on a Tuesday, but if we have to have any meetings in public and with substance on the agendas, we will try and keep them on Tuesdays for the most part. It depends on the items, but I know in our packet at our desk, there is a comment from Cliff Potter, and I know he expressed it at our last meeting, that he feels that there's a lot of business going on and that we should have 2 meetings. And Cliff, I know you're probably watching, and I appreciate your comments. But as we discussed at the last meeting, we're probably one of the few towns that do have 2 council meetings a month. Most towns have just one. And I think we've done a good job of, moving our meetings along and having concise information. And if we see the need that we need to have a special meeting, we will definitely do that. We did keep 2 meetings in the month of April, because that's our budget. So there will still be the public hearing, and then we will have our regular meeting. The budget agendas, those are budget workshops. That's a separate, that doesn't go with this schedule, and that will still be set in the new year.
So I see we're starting at 6:30 for these meetings.
Yes. That was also part of the discussion, was to start it earlier. So next year will be our trial year of going to 1 meeting. If we see that we have to make too many changes to it, we can always reconsider it for the next year when we set our schedule. But we can always add special meetings on here. So do I have a motion to accept the scheduled meeting as presented?
So moved.
Second.
So okay. Motion by Counselor Zampano, second by Counselor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Motion carries. Okay. Discussion and review of the 2019 blight ordinance proposal. Has the town attorney had a chance to look at this yet, or do we need to table it?
Sorry, ma'am. Yes, we have taken a look at this. I have exactly comments. I think it does need some rewriting to a couple of drafts, things that I've noticed. First of all, we have to, I think you have to have a blight enforcement officer. I think it becomes a bit unwieldy where you call it your TMSS performance and property maintenance standards officer. You empower a number of people, everything to a police officer, any and all police officers, to the health district representative, town planner, or agent, building official, fire marshal, public works director, the assessor. I think you should constantly have a blight officer who, in consultation with these ladies, would be making a determination. I think that's a better way to do it than giving the blight officer power to so many people.
That was one of our major concerns.
I think that's a problem, and I think, you also, the way this was written as an administrative function, it appoints your zoning board of appeals as the hearing officer, rather than so we should have a hearing officer who listens to blight appeals, who listens to the scooter, the ATV.
The ATV.
The same person who's speaking to all the appeals. Instead of having this kind of commission to it. Some of the other things I noticed, I think we have to deal with wetland grasses and things like that, which may be more than 12 inches in height. We have to deal with visible piles of accumulated grass clippings. I'm not a farmer, but I know hay is basically, people find this grass clippings and farmers put into bowls or bales and leave them on the fields frequently, and that technically would be a violation. I don't think we want to go there. We talked about cultivated gardens. I think we have to address farms directly, both crop farms as well as animal farms, horse farms or cow farms. Because those may have grasses that are 12 inches higher in the cane, first, second, third cane. The grass is going to get tall. You may have tall, any type of animal farm, you may have tall grass, grazing fields, horses.
Right, but doesn't it say somewhere in the beginning of this document that agricultural is excluded?
We have to write it, make it clear.
Okay.
It talks about cultivated gardens, and it allows you to have a cultivated garden, and not, is a cultivated garden a farm? I have to be very clear.
Oh, okay.
Because you're a big agricultural community, you don't want to make every farm become an instant blight because they have hay bales, or they're growing hay, or they're growing corn stalks, they're big too, as you know. What's your favorite cocoa? But I think we have to be careful. We have to clean that up a little bit as well. One person, blight officer. So if you want to proceed with this, that's clearly a rewrite we can do if you want to head down that way. We've been sitting on this since 4 years, but I don't want to spend a lot of resources doing it if you don't see this is an issue. But if you
Can we kick the can down on the road in this? Can we table this for discussion?
Well, so the question is, do we want the town attorney to go ahead and do some rewrites, or do you want to table it for now and have a discussion and then direct the town attorney to do something? What's
Second.
the second one?
Yeah.
To table it and have,
Discuss it and have the town attorney.
based on our discussion?
I think we need to figure out why we want a blight, in place in the first place. I think there's some misguided or misunderstood reasons why. And some of it has to do with economics in this town and cleaning up some of our areas of business interest. Different strip malls and things like that to make them more attractive. Blight laws aren't necessarily intended for that. As town attorney has indicated, a lot of it's for the aesthetic of the town, and for the homeowners, usually the one that's going to get, have the blight incident or have the fine for that. So it's something we have to consider why we want to do it, what we want to do with it, and then from there build what that particular document should look like. I'm assuming we pulled this document from another blight document from another town.
No, this was the one that was presented in 2019.
So again, probably in 2019, we pulled it from another town and wrote it.
Wasn't there a committee to do that?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm saying, do we have to have a purpose? What's the purpose from it? And I think then we backtrack and we write it. Or we
Right,
at least
what's our goal?
What's our goal?
What's our end result? And back into it. If that's what we want, we may not, as a group, we may not want that.
So
I said from day one, there's no sense of having it if there isn't a viable enforcement option.
Can't be enforced, yeah. Waste.
If it's not gonna, if you're not gonna be able to enforce it, it doesn't make sense to have it. Because I think the last meeting, somebody said something about in certain circumstances having the town go in and just clean up the property or something like that.
Yeah, as a community.
That's all you gotta do is one time do that, and then from that point on, as soon as that gets around, everybody's gonna be like, oh, don't worry about it, sooner or later the town will get it up there. So I think there has to be, if we're gonna do it, there has to be, and I know there is some stuff in the one that we have already, but it needs to be well documented as to what the steps are, the processes and people need to be in place, and it needs to be enforced. If we're not gonna do that, then I don't see the sense in doing it. It'll be just words on paper at that point.
If I may, Madam Mayor, what I think would be a good idea is the version that was handed out to the council the last time may not be the most recent iteration, and in your folders tonight, and town attorney's just getting that tonight as well, might be the most updated version. It's kind of hard to tell with what was left behind for me, like which was which, but I think the one here is the right one. It's slightly different, but what I think would be a good idea is if I sit down with the town attorney and our town planner, review that proposal, and go over that, and certainly get to the point of why would we do this in the first place. I think give us the opportunity to kind of package this together and present you with what would be the reasons if you adopted, why you should make the case.
Okay, I mean, that's, so we'll just table this and wait for you to come back to us at the next meeting. We'll keep it under unfinished business and wait for you to come back, and then we can have further discussion on that. One other thing under unfinished business that we talked about last month was, or at the last meeting, was appointments, liaison appointments to boards and commissions, which is a mayoral appointment. It is not a vote from the council, but I would just like to announce tonight, just so that everyone is aware of some of the changes that are going to be made. So on Economic Development Commission, Councilor Miller is going to take over as liaison to EDC. I will be staying on as Park and Rec liaison. Councilor Diamond and Councilor Goad will be staying on as Police Commission. On Fire Commission, Ron Policio was our liaison, and due to work commitments and family commitments, he has sent an email saying that he is going to step down, but Deputy Mayor McMillan has stepped up and he will be the liaison to the Fire Commission. Planning and Zoning Commission, Currently, Counselor Zampano is the liaison, and on that commission, we're just going to have two people. Counselor Zampano will stay on, and Counselor Palicio will come on, and it's kind of an either-or type of situation, because that board meets twice a month. If they can make it, they'll make it. If not, we'll just move on. We have the minutes, so we can see what is happening on planning and zoning. Finance Subcommittee, Counselor Zampano, Deputy Mayor McMillan, myself, and Counselor Diamond will be the Finance Subcommittee. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee, Counselor Palicia and Counselor Diamond will remain on that one. And on Inland Wetlands, Counselor Diamond is going to stay on as well. So those are our liaisons as of right now. So, and so this will take effect starting January 1st. Okay, under new business.
What about Blueprint?
Oh, the Blueprint Committee. Okay, so can you just explain, because right now, Counselor Abelson and Counselor Zampano are the two appointed members from the town council that are on that committee. Counselor Zampano has said that due to his work commitment, it's hard for him to be at all of the meetings. Fortunately, the deputy mayor has stepped in and said that he would do that in conjunction with Counselor Zampano, so it's kind of an either-or type of thing. Just wondering how we handle that, because the makeup of that committee was set as two reps from the town council.
I think you could set it because, Madam Mayor, because you set this up as a council committee. You can tweak the membership, so you could perhaps have two council members or their designees, allowing that council member to have a designee at a meeting if he or she cannot attend.
So can we set the designee as the deputy mayor? Mm-hmm. And then,
sure.
So it would just be the two council members out of the three?
Or, yeah, two council members and, or in the absence of either council member, the deputy mayor to serve in their stead or something like that, yeah. Sure.
Okay, and is that a vote of the council?
Yes, since you set it up, I would have you make a vote to amend the composition of that Blue Ribbon Committee to include two members of this council, or in the absence of any such member, the deputy mayor. And yeah.
Okay. Do I hear a motion for what the attorney just said?
I don't think a motion that,
So who moved it?
I did that.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, so the motion was made by Counselor Abelson, seconded by Counselor Goat. Discussion?
Yes, so the issue I'm having is, with my work schedule now, I don't have the time to focus on this committee, and this committee needs a lot of focus. Not only that, is I'm the chairman, so I'm not sure how we want to handle that, because.
Well, you can pick a new chair.
Okay.
For the committee.
Yeah, okay.
Well, at your next meeting.
Okay.
Shift it in.
Or in your absence, you can either pick a new chair, or if you have a vice chair in your
Yeah, we
absence.
do have a
vice
vice chair.
So this chair.
But if you want to reselect your chair, you can.
Love to be chair.
Yeah.
I think we'd be good at it too.
Yeah.
You can-
Okay, I just want to make sure that was out there, because that's my struggle, is to have that commitment. I'm not going to be able to have the commitment for the meeting that it deserves.
Okay. So by redesignating the chair, would that?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have that at the next meeting.
Thursday.
When?
Thursday.
This Thursday.
Yeah.
Better whip up an agenda.
Not sure what, I don't know. I think we're gonna fix that next.
Well, that's the meeting that will do that. Okay.
A week from Thursday.
It's a week from Thursday?
Yeah.
Oh, you got time.
If you guys wanted to cancel that during the holidays, it's up to you.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Kathleen, did you get that? Or do you need, okay, great, thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to item 9A, authorizing application for grant from Secretary of State for early voting.
Right, this is the, what I mentioned in my report last meeting, a $10,500 grant from the Secretary of State's office to our registrars for the purpose of implementing and conducting early voting. Every town is getting $10,500. Our registrars are intended to use this grant for labor costs, equipment, location-related expenses, printing costs, voter education, and associated supplies with early voting. So there's a suggested memo before you, should you wish to accept this grant from the Secretary of State, or should say, authorize me to sign the application so that we can receive that funding.
Do I hear a motion?
Can I make the motion?
Please.
The motion that the town council of the town of North Branford hereby authorizes town manager Michael Downs to sign the application for $10,500 grant from the Connecticut Secretary of State's office to the North Branford registrars of voters for costs associated with implementing and conducting early voting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. All right, next item is right of first refusal for Palms Lane and Beach Street RWA property.
So in your packet, you have a memo from me, and you may remember that the council has passed along a letter from the RWA indicating their intention to sell 19.4 acres on Palms Lane and 17.2 acres on Beach Street. The RWA is required to notify us by law because we have the right of first refusal on that property. Town has 90 days from the notification to respond. There's a map of these parcels included in the packet for you to look at. In May of this year, a state grant was secured in the amount of $385,450 for the North Branford Land Conservation Trust for the purposes of obtaining these properties, and the trust is allocating trust and donor funds to make up the balance of the purchase price of these parcels, which is $593,000. And a description of the grant award is included in your packet as well, for what NBLCT is including in support of their memo. The council wishes to support the land trust's acquisition of these parcels. You can proactively decline the town's right of first refusal to obtain them, which will enable the process to move to the next phase sooner than the expiration of the 90-day period, which is the end of January.
So do I have a
I'll make a
motion?
motion that the town council of the town of North Branford hereby waives the right of the town of North Branford under subsection F of section 18 of Connecticut Special Act 77-98 to purchase the regional water authority's parcels on Palms Lane and Beach Street.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Councilor Palladino. Discussion?
So what was the motion?
Yeah, you said waive the right? I thought you-
Waives the right for the town to purchase,
First refusal.
because the right of first refusal.
No.
Is the council interested in buying those two parcels for $593,000?
So what will happen if we don't, will be up for public to buy?
No, the land trust.
Land trust.
The land trust is, they secured a grant for $385,000. They've done fundraising, so they have the $593,000.
Yeah, so it's the land purchasing it, so it's
So
nothing's gonna be built on it.
No, the land trust is, it just allows, if the town has no interest in that property, then it allows the land trust to move forward, because they still have not closed on it, because they have to wait for the town.
Right, okay.
And then they plan on putting in an parking lot and an ADA accessible area. So it's usable for people with disabilities. It'll be the first trail in North Branford that is ADA accessible. So they plan on doing that.
So are these properties, it's hard to see in the map, but are they accessible? Are any of them locked, landlocked, is my question, basically? I'm trying to.
They run along the sides of those roads.
Closed on it. Trail in the corner, it's not a pasture. It's closed on the whole corner, that whole wooded area up there.
But they don't connect, I see, right?
They don't connect.
You can't have a trail on one and then work it into the other one, right?
Unless it comes up through here.
Well, the green outline is RWA property,
Okay.
which is between Pomps and Beach Street. There's some green, it's hard to see on the map, but there is some green in there. So I think they're going to be working to see once if there is a possibility that they can get a trail. But they do have plans of doing trails on that property.
So who owns the NB4A?
RWA.
Okay,
The green outline is RWA.
Yes.
right, so you can't get from Pomps Lane property to Beach Street property
Unless they give
without
it
going,
right away, yeah.
without, right.
Correct.
That's why
And
we're
it's,
trying to buy it.
and it's on the,
It's gonna be land trust, so we'll make it one piece of property.
If they were able to buy NB4A.
It would actually, yeah, it would.
well, that's not for sale.
Right, so what,
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the pictures, and I was just wondering also, is both the Beach Street property, and I guess it was answered already, and the Pomps Lane property, are they accessible without going on RWA property?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a reason why NB4A is not for sale also?
The RWA did put it up for sale.
Can we get beach rights here?
Beach rights? I know, because it's on the outside of the dotted lines, and the dotted lines indicate watershed. So you can't go over the dotted lines, so, sorry.
But we have view, right?
You have water views, yes,
Right.
yes.
Gotta cut the trees down.
Okay, any other
Find a way to get
discussion?
rid of RWA.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right, thank you. Land Trust will be happy to hear this, so they can move along. Next item is approval of award for RFP number 924007, Public Works Design Services for DEP Building.
Right, this is the results of the authorized bid by the council. If you got any questions, I believe I've got Dan Silvano here from Public Works.
Okay.
Good evening, Dan Salentano, Assistant Director of Public Works. This is just for phase one for our office and bathroom, locker room expansion. I want to say we allocated $30,000 for this project. It came in way over that, so we took the phase one approach. This will just get us conceptual, existing condition plan and a conceptual design of what we need and how much it's going to cost. And then in the event that we're blessed with that money to go forward in the future, we'll take phase two on. But instead of spending the money on phase two right off the bat.
Well, what would phase 2 be?
Phase two is construction-ready plans, like
Oh, okay.
electrical, plumbing, the whole,
Do we know what that bid came back on?
what the total was.
I don't remember. Do you
It
recall?
was, I want to say it's around 40.
Well,
I have these up here.
but we don't have a cost for the addition yet or
No.
anything.
No.
This is just for conceptual drawings.
Yep, this is a conceptual drawing, and they'll give us an estimated price based on that
Gotcha.
square footage and needs.
So the 22-1 will just get us conceptual and estimated costs. And then if we decide to go forward, that's when you get the detailed drawings.
Yep, for about the same amount of money, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's kind of like,
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Well, I was gonna read it.
It's moving going.
RFP number 924007 for Public Works Design Services for the DEP building for $22,000.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion has been made by Counselor Diamond, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any discussion?
Dan, this is the addition to add on the bathrooms and everything?
Yep, bathroom, locker room space, office addition. It was briefly presented, I think, in our last year's budget presentation. We didn't hit on it too much because we knew things were tight. We were just kind of putting it out there.
So the total for the design plans, ready plans, is about
Yep.
$42,000?
You're about 22, you're about 50,000.
Approximately 50.
Yep,
And how much are we spending now?
22.1.
Right. So we're talking about another $30,000 for ready plans.
Construction ready.
So if we go to phase one right now, and you're gonna spend the 22,000, is it gonna be more than $30,000 on phase two? In other words, if we did it all now, is it gonna cost us more later?
It's hard to say. I mean, I can't answer that question 100%. We'd have to ask the company that. I would think in good graces, by doing, phase one, they would honor and do phase two. But it does say phase two to be determined.
Right. So
they're leaving the door open.
Can we get an accurate amount for phase one and two before we approve this?
I think it has to go stage one, stage two.
Does it have to do that?
To determine our needs.
Yeah,
and
because
how
otherwise
scope
you
of project,
can't go
yeah.
out and get the pricing. Unfortunately, that's,
Well, because if we don't go ahead with, depending on the estimated cost of the project, if we,
Well, it's like you're coming to us and asking us for, and then it's to be determined.
So they have
it
to
could cost
figure
more
out
than
what to determine.
$30,000.
Bruce, so they have to, so phase one will determine what the need is, and then phase two will implement the project, the process. So you have to hit one before you get to two.
I understand that.
I don't know if they're able to determine what it will look like if they don't know
what one's gonna
what
look like.
components will be needed.
Yeah, unless we went with the all-in, but we didn't budget for that. We I think I want to say we did a transfer for $30,000 to get
Yes.
the ball rolling.
You did.
on this.
All right.
yes.
Dan, have you, I'm sorry.
But we can,
It just sounds,
Yeah.
considering on how things go, it's just gonna be, when we finally go to do this in a year or two or whatever it is, you're gonna come and say, well, it's gonna be, another $50,000 to do all these plans. And, so it's.
Yeah, I mean, if they would, we'd be happy to do the all-in,
I
but,
understand.
Dan, have you gotten any numbers where you kind of have an idea of what the building would cost? What you're talking about? Like, how much are we talking here, do you think?
it's very hard to say. I mean, if you want big numbers, I would say under $1 million. I could say that. We're looking to add in a couple offices and take our existing one bathroom and convert it into more.
Well, how many square feet are we talking?
It's hard to say. I don't have all the information on me here tonight, but it's about 1,500 square feet, I want to
So
say.
you're gonna add 1,500 square feet to the existing building?
and revamp the existing inside of.
Existing, so our existing secretary's office is gonna become cubicle space for the division leaders, because they're not in an office all day. And then there'll be a new office for Fran, myself, Jerry out front. Fran's existing office becomes a meeting room, so we could actually have meetings when companies come in and everything, monitor storms. And like I said earlier, we'll take our existing, we have one men's and one woman bathroom.
Dan, how many guys you got in your, I should say, how many people you have in your department?
We have 20.
20 people, you have one bathroom?
Yep, and you figure in a snowstorm with subcontractors, it could be 30. Everyone comes in, eats dinner once, and then it's a line at the bathroom.
Yeah.
Fran's going crazy because he wants us all back out on the roof.
Of course. So, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, so
That's
we've
good.
been trying to just get the ball rolling here. It's kind of, this is the seed to a project,
No, I understand. I'm just saying, when it finally comes down to it, it's gonna cost us more money.
Well, we don't know
I
that.
don't know that yet.
Is there a way to use ARPA money for this? Some of it,
Sure.
If we choose.
right?
isn't that
Does it
what
qualify
we're
for
doing? Isn't that what this part is?
No,
This is
no.
appropriation transfer.
This is number C.
Oh, I thought this was D.
Yeah, we're on C.
Oh,
But I mean, could we use ARPA money for that?
We're gonna discuss ARPA in the January meeting, but we can definitely talk about that.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, any other discussion?
Mayor, I think in the motion, it was the DEP building should be DPW building.
Yeah, noticed that.
Oh,
Yeah, Department of Public Works.
It's Department of Environmental Protection.
okay. So we'll make that change in that it's DPW, not DEP.
Yeah.
I read it though.
Well, that's good. Okay, all right.
Ron Burgundy.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Okay. Item D, ARPA funding for Department of Public Works, additional requests for bridge infrastructure improvement and electrical upgrade at Department of Public Works / Auger Field. So,
It's actually two items kind of packed into this one. So on the first one, relative to the Public Works Department, additional request for bridge infrastructure improvements. I will give you a
Thank you. So the previously approved ARPA funding for the bridge infrastructure package was back around in the spring of 2023. That approval was for $500,000. We've since gone out and got quotes for the same 8 bridges that we proposed to you at that time. The quotes came in a little bit higher than the $500,000 that we were allotted. And also to get the contractor that we're using through that same CROG program I described before. There's a subcontractor increase, which is on that bridge quote page that should be in your package. And we've also started the Walking Trails North Farms Park suspension bridge evaluation report was also another one of those bridges that we said we're gonna include in that original $500,000 package. So also including traffic control, kind of just boiling down to $500,000 now becomes a need for $651,000+. So our additional ARPA funding request at the bottom of the page would be $151,000, $253,077. And if there's any questions on that, I do have a package on each of the bridge quotes. So kind of gets into, on most of them, it gets into a little bit more involved than just the original improvement or maintenance factor on these bridges was the rubber membrane replacement below the pavement structure, which protects the concrete rebar and other things on the bridge from salt and water penetration. So while the contractor was preparing their quote, they found other minor, what we'd call somewhat minor to medium to major repairs that they're recommending get completed during this process. It's just, if you're gonna strip away the pavement and the membrane and build it back up, it makes sense to do some of these other improvements and repairs that they noted during the field quote process.
Are you sure that 140,000 is gonna work, or is it?
well, no, he actually needs 151, according to, the memo says 140, but his detail says 151, so.
That's what I'm.
So we'll do Anthony's method of requesting funds, and we'll just round it up to 155.
So in fairness to that, I kind of anticipated that would be a question. Until we really strip away the pavement and the rubber membrane, I mean, I can't say that on any one bridge you might find something else in the process.
Of course.
So, I mean, what we do is, again, we're not gonna go through and start all 8 bridges at once. The contractor couldn't do that anyway, so it's gonna be more step-by-step, one bridge at a time. And we already know which bridge is now, they all need it, so they're all at that point, but there's 1 or 2 that would be at the end of our list for completing. And if it got to a point where we couldn't complete those with the funds we'd have, they would end up on future capital improvement lists, which, you know, in the years moving forward, there will be more bridge is coming forward to as we get into that 10 to 20-year cycle for the replacement of these rubber membranes.
Do you know how long it's been since these bridges?
Most of these are over the 20-year level, and the recommendation is to replace that bridge membrane within the first 20 years of construction, and then every 10 years thereafter. So we're kind of gonna get these into a 10-year cycle following this. And, you know, there are some indicators that you can see on the bridges, on the underneath of the bridges, where you see salt coming through some of the joints and structural components of the bridge. So, you know, we can kind of get a feeling when they need it if we can stretch some of these past the 10-year point in years to come.
So this help any of the overflow that's going on with the bridges?
Will it help with
any of the overflow that's been happening recently?
No, so the actual bridge opening that, you know, allows the passage of floodwaters not being changed, it's the actual, the bridge deck that you're driving over. Right.
Yeah, we kind of got this kind of stuff.
No,
And Victor, these little things that they found, they're adding on.
no, the only one is doing.
Sorry, that's actually
Yeah,
like canceling you out.
No, all these little things they found that they want to tack on, you verified it in agreement.
Right, yeah, during the, both myself and the Assistant Director of Public Works were on site during each of the quotes that we processed with them. So, you know, they're pointing out things that needed to get done, and actually things that we knew we were gonna need to do that have been highlighted in some of the state bridge inspections. So it's just like, you know, well, while they're there, why not have them do some of these things instead of kicking the can down the road to say a sidewalk repair or an abutment repair. Some of them are safety measures, guide rails, approach guide rails, things like that.
Okay.
So do I hear a motion to approve $155,000 of ARPA funding for bridge repair?
Madam Chairman, I think you should probably phrase it that the town of North Branford Town Council hereby approves an additional $155,000 in ARPA funds to cover the additional cost of bridge infrastructure improvements.
Motion is stipulated by town attorney.
Second.
Motion has been made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. And the next one for ARPA funding is for electrical upgrade. It's a supplemental.
This is all on still 9D.
Yeah, there was two.
Oh, why would-
Bridge infrastructure and electrical upgrade. It's all under DI and DII.
Okay.
It just wasn't listed that way.
Okay.
So this is supplemental ARPA request for $20,000. And what it was, it's, according to the memo, is electrical, it's for the cost associated with engineering drawings for the project on there. And there's Franny's email is there to supplement it. Do I hear a motion?
Motion?
There is a motion.
There's motion.
Yep.
Read
You
it.
read the motion on this side.
Town of North Branford Town Council hereby approves an additional $20,000 in ARPA funds to cover the cost of engineer drawings associated with the electrical upgrades to Department of Public Works in Auburn Field.
I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, second by Councilor Palladino. Any discussion?
Yes, so we may approve $20,000 for drawings. Do we know who we're getting the drawings from?
They're already,
Oh, so we do them and then pay for them,
Needed them to do the project.
okay?
it wasn't a part of the project cost.
All right.
And so it's additional funding to cover the cost of the drawings.
Gotcha. All right.
On there. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, item E, revised capital improvement program 23-24.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. You may recall in the 23-24 capital program, there was an allocation to replace the handicap lift at Atwater Library of $75,000. You can see in my memo, the bid results, $96,000 and change was the base bid, an ADA compliant phone, and then the maintenance contract for a total of $107,000. So the thought was, how are we going to make up the difference of the additional $25,000 roughly for the initial contract? I spoke with the folks at OPM, and we do have money unallocated in our LoSiP pot at the state, so that wouldn't be a problem. The only implication or the only wrinkle would be that they cannot cover the maintenance cost with LoSiP money. So my recommendation is to bump the budget up from 75 to 100. That will accomplish the base bid and the ADA phone piece, and then the maintenance contract standard is an operating cost, can be built into Lauren's operating budget going forward.
Okay. Do I hear the motion?
Be it hereby resolved that the North Branford Town Council approves the revised 23-24 CIP attached to include LoSiP funding for the lift at Atwater Library from $75,000 to $100,000.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Diamond, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any discussion?
Yeah, and the maintenance costs here, it says years 2 to 5. So that's $7,500 for years 2 through 5. Or is that per year for?
That's the total for that span of years 2 through 5.
All right.
Hey, Anthony, just a question.
Yes, sir.
The ADA phone,
Yeah,
is that for the lift?
yeah.
Yeah, it's inside the lift in case something.
Okay. Seems a little excessive, but okay.
Isn't it one big room?
No, it's literally in the lift. It's like in an elevator. The elevator
Yeah,
phone.
but is it like in an open room?
And where's it dialed to? Is it to the 911 to fire department, or does it go to the front desk?
I think it goes to a monitoring company.
So this lift has been closed for 6 months, even though we approved the money. You know, it's been sitting there and not getting done. And part of it is because the bid came in more than what was allocated. So we really need to get this done for them. And we have the additional funding for it. It's coming out of LoSiP funding, which is where we were originally funding this cost from on here.
So the ADA phone, Anthony, does that cover the cost of a monitoring company? Is that what that is?
No, that's the installation, I believe. That's the supplying and installing the phone.
So does the current one have one?
Currently, I could not tell you, to be honest with you.
It does not, because it's the code. It's a code.
Mm-hmm.
It's a code thing. Only thing is, it doesn't have to go to a monitoring company.
I'm not sure.
As long as it dials out to
Right.
either 911 or to the front desk,
Right.
we're good.
Well, we've had issues where people have gotten stuck after hours, so the front desk wouldn't work.
So then it has to go.
Well, how would they be in the lift after hours if the library's closed?
Cleaning people.
The cleaning crew?
It's a long story. You asked.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll double check.
It's more difficult than it needs to be.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, any other discussion?
Well, so the lift is for a disabled person, right?
That is correct.
That's what it's used for. So wouldn't the lift be secured when not in use? Or should it be?
Might be disabled 24. I can't think so.
What's that?
Could be someone that's in the cleaning crew that's disabled. It's possible.
Be available 24/7. It's a code.
Okay, no, okay. I don't know the code. I'm good.
Okay. All right, any other discussion?
Line here.
All right.
Carry it on.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. So will this allow the project to move forward now?
Yes, ma'am.
Great.
Okay, good. Gonna lift.
And I'll confirm about if it goes to 911 or to, I thought it goes to I'll double check for you though.
Yeah, because you could just send it to 911.
Right.
Okay, so So Anthony's just going to stay up here and go into financial report as of 11:30.
The only item that I want to point your attention to on the expenditure side, you'll notice about 2/3 of the way down, the emergency management budget is overspent. And that is two factors. We signed up for a multi-year package with Code Red, our current reverse 911 notifying company. And when we made the change to the new website with Civic Plus, they have a product called Civic Ready. So we have a 1-year overlap. As we get Civic Ready up to date, we had to pay for it, and then the Code Red still being in place. The other issue on the emergency management, you may recall, those who were on the council last year, there was an issue at the MBIS generator where it wasn't running properly. We had to drain all the fuel out, clean the tank, put new fuel in, and apparently it was still not running 100% correctly. So additional work had to be done, and a large portion of this cost was the company that we use actually sitting there and monitoring it for a period of like 6 hours, make sure that it was running appropriately. So that was their time we were paying for that. So that's the reason why that department's overexpended. Aside from that, there's nothing else really remarkable to talk about.
Okay. Next item is appropriation transfers for 22-23.
This is relating to the Branford Animal Control. Well, I got you. This is the new format I'm going to use for transfers where it's more visible on a portrait format versus a landscape as it complies to your tablets and things, so it makes it a little easier to read. So the thought is to take money out of the building department of the contractual, $17,500, and apply it to the animal control, the contractual, $17,500, which covers the balance of the 2022 to 23 animal control bill for town of Branford.
Anthony, did we get the rest of the bill yet?
Negative. I talked to the finance director in Branford, and he anticipates January getting the bill for those 2 months, the July and August period. I did follow up with him, but he didn't have the information yet.
So we'll approve tonight, but can you hold payment until you get that other bill?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
It'd be nice to have one truck.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
That the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers recommended by the town manager, the town treasurer, and finance director. Propose the building department and animal control.
Second.
Motion has been made by Councilor Diamond, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. The next one is appropriation transfers for 23-24.
Yes, in the sewer works operating budget, there typically was rental of machinery to clear the rights of way that we have for sewer lines and such. And the Public Works Department has gone out, and rather than to have to rent that equipment, they've bought a head for the machine that they have and will clean them themselves. So this takes the money basically from the rental line, which we're not going to rent anymore, and puts it into the equipment line where we bought that piece from. That eliminates us having to rent it going forward.
Okay.
Okay, do I have a motion?
That the North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as recommended by the town manager and the treasurer or finance director, sewer works operating budget, equipment rental, and technical equipment.
Second.
A motion made by Councilor Diamond, second by Councilor Goad. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, the next item is contingency transfer for 23-24.
I will call on my comrades to come up and discuss this one.
Good evening. Thank you for considering this software. My fellow assessors and I and other town departments are very excited about this product. The reason is for the frequent amount of flyovers that this company does. And this will allow me to perform virtual site visits, reducing the need to go in the field. I can cut down my field inspections by 80%. I can also identify unreported personal property through discovery. For example, we have the right to assess heavy equipment if the equipment is located in North Branford for 3 months or more during the year, per statute. The program will provide a timeline in order for us to identify, list, and value this equipment. The program will identify any non-permitted construction changes. The latest image will overlay the previous flyover image. And with that said, the software will flag any new buildings, raised buildings, and any structural changes to buildings. For example, homeowners A and B have the same exact house. Homeowners A and B add an addition. Homeowner B does not pull a permit. Homeowner A does. Homeowner B is not paying their fair share of the taxes. This will allow us to identify the illegal addition and assess it properly. This also allows us a geographical data link to our assessment software. It integrates our parcel data, street data, and our property lines into Nearmap's web platform. It also will improve the accuracy of evaluation. The program has measuring capability. I could confirm sketches and drawings from my desk. This feature reduces the cost for reval. A reval company will not have to pay additional employees to go out and actually do this type of work. I can do it from my desk. And please note that this is aerial imagery. It's not live streamed from a drone or from a satellite. So it's just a picture in time is what it is. And I made a few calls, and so far, again, this is new to assessors, this product, and so far, 22 towns are using the software, and it's more to come. It's still new to us, and I can safely guess that within a year, this list will double.
How would it be used in planning and zoning?
It's a land use tool in terms of seeing development over time. So you can see encroachment of people into wetlands, new buildings, as Dave said. But it's also nice to be able to go back and say, oh, this started, 6 months ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. People say, no, I didn't start until last week. You can go back and see it. I think it's a help for engineering and public works to be able to look at stream flows, and you can actually look at the quality of the roads as they've changed over the years. It's just a great tool to see things changing every 6 months.
That's the frequency, every 6 months there's a picture taken?
And for the record, our last flyover that we're using is from 2018.
There is a current flyover that the state GIS is about to do in 2024. So we will have that updated soon, but that compares back to 2020, 2017. The state does about every 3 years. It's nice to be able to get an analysis at least once a year.
And it's cost effective too. I'm sure we can pay for it. I can pay for it by finding property that's not being assessed in value.
This came up to us in Finance Committee, and I was vehemently against it. It was a little bit different of an understanding when we were talking about it. I thought this was going to be drone-led or something that was consistent, not every 6 months, which is a little bit more palatable versus something that you're getting satellite imagery on a on-demand basis. It still feels to me a little like just because we can doesn't mean we should type of thing, particularly in this town with our constituency.
Well, when it was
but I'd like to hear more about it, I guess.
When it was brought up in the meeting, it was every month.
Yeah, it was every month. It was
exact.
It was going to be satellite-based or something.
It's twice a year.
Twice a year.
It's a photo.
That's very different.
It's just a photo.
I know. I understood that differently. Did you as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about it at length.
And the latest Google map is like May of this year.
Mm-hmm. So we have those resources available as well.
I mean,
but it's different though, because I can't integrate my data into Google Earth. I could into Near Maps.
This gives you the ability to measure and actually look at things from a 45-degree angle, so you can see the height of the building.
Well, this is a flyover, correct?
Just a flap.
It's flyover.
So this is being done by some small airplane?
Whomever, yeah.
Or not, it's not, to get a 45, one would think that you'd have to get different altitude in order to gain that, so you'd have to get it through some type of, some type of drone.
I'm not sure. I think the software provides for these different angles. I think it's just technology.
Sure.
Every other one.
Typically, you'd have more than one camera doing that to get that. That's how it works on, for instance, if you purchase a car and it has that technology to get to a space, it utilizes multiple cameras to do that from different angles and different heights. It's just geometry of the angle of the camera. So it's interesting to hear that they're able to get heights from something that's one level from a plane flying over at an altitude.
Well, they do that every other flyover has the 45 degrees, so it's a more expensive flyover.
More expensive
that
flyover.
they do.
And what's the ROI? What's the anticipated ROI of something like this, realistically?
ROI?
Yeah, return on investment.
Oh, immediate.
I'm sorry?
Immediate return?
No. I appreciate that. But I mean,
estimated dollar amount?
Yeah. What are we thinking?
It costs $7,000. I can make up maybe 3 times that amount.
So 7,000, and you think maybe 21,000 could be?
Yeah, realistically, within a year.
Okay.
So, can I ask you, I'm sorry, I was indisposed.
I still don't
When you
like
started this, how do you do it now? Like, you do it by the state, by the flyovers by the state, every 3 years or so? Is that how it's done?
Yeah, whatever's available to us, but go ahead.
The only aerial analysis we have is Google Maps or Bing Maps or the state flyovers, which are every 3 years. But David, has a crew that goes out every 4 or 5 years and goes and knocks on your door.
Right, and measure and list the house. This will allow us to do it right from the office. So it won't be as intrusive. I'm sorry?
Yeah, go to the door. You have the rain to go into the property?
Yeah, every 10 years, we have to actually go out and measure and list, take a picture of every single building. So, our structure, this will allow us to do it from the office. So this will cut back on the reval's cost and not cut back on our cost for the reval company.
I understand both sides. I noticed the other day with Tommy, we were talking about this, that I could see both sides of it, but for me, personally, I'm gonna speak just for Jeff Macmillan, I don't like the taste of it. I don't like the smell and taste of it. It just doesn't fit within our town's kind of temperature or feel. That's to me. I'm one person here on here, so that's my one feeling. I don't like it, but I understand why it would make your job easier and make it more efficient. I can appreciate that. I can see why you brought it to our attention. I just personally, I don't like it. I don't think,
I don't think we're trying to get into the personal status of properties as much as from land use point, the overall development of the town and the externalities. So if you're getting a permit for your deck and building it properly.
I get it, I understand.
David's taxing you.
I mean, I use gas every day. Why not have the most recent flyover at my disposal? It just makes sense.
Is there a percentage of residents that are doing this? Like are skirting the permit? What's the percentage?
People who build without permits?
Yes.
I can't tell you. I don't know all of them, so I mean, there's several a year.
As a guesstimate.
I can't guess.
There are a lot of people who don't know they need permits. They're ignorant, so they go and build a deck because they don't know they need permits. So they're the ignorant people.
They build it on they build it on piers. They don't pour concrete. They don't put it on slab. They put it on piers. They do it themselves.
You can certainly go to Home Depot and buy a shed.
Yeah, I know.
And they don't always say, you need a permit.
Listen, I'm in the process of building my garage again, and I know I need a permit, so I don't totally understand it.
That's my opinion.
And then there are the people who are flagrant about not getting permits.
Well, those are, and you're gonna go and you're gonna sit there, here's your bill? And if they're flagrant about it, they're gonna be a bill, what are they gonna do?
What we do is we go through the legal process. We send them a notice, we tell them that we found the addition, we assess it, send them a notice, then we bill them.
I mean, that's our job, right?
Yeah, that's what, that's.
I understand that.
We try to make every homeowner pay their fair share of taxes.
Right, but I guess the question I have, one of the questions I have then, if someone's building something, like a deck, a shed, something that they should have gotten a permit and they didn't, how would you know that with the software? How would you know it?
Because the current flyover overlays the previous flyover and identifies any changes to the parcel polygons, the approved polygons, and it flags that as a red flag. Look at it, I see that the old structure didn't have a deck, new one does.
So, okay, that's why I'm asking, because I want to understand what you're looking at. So you're not just scanning a picture, you're looking at this picture, now this next picture for the second picture, I guess.
Right, overlays it, and if it changes the structure.
And somehow
it flags
highlights something.
Yeah,
right?
it flags, it identifies the property.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure this out.
You were mentioning something in regard to the wetlands, so you're saying if someone has property and they start expanding their property out to the wetlands, that's what you need to notify you that this person expanding their property.
Yeah, it provides a timeline to see, how it changes over the course of several months.
My next question is, so just say if you're my neighbor and I start moving my property out and I start knocking trees down on your property, it'll show issues like that, and you'll be able to notify saying this person got into another person's property.
Yeah, it's happening right now on Zero Road.
On where?
Zero.
Yeah, Zero Road, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know there's another area in town that's been happening too.
Properties, they're clearing trees.
They're clearing the trees.
And they're putting equipment back there.
Person's property, and then they came down here and they said that they couldn't get any information on that.
So this shows. So the best thing is you can document that and go back 3-4 cycles and look at it and see as it's been developed, because a lot of times it's done slowly.
I asked the other day when this brought up in the finance committee, does this have a property line overlay? Meaning, so this will have literally a purple line or a red line?
It integrates with our software, so yes, it will.
Okay. It'd be nice to see what it looked like.
I want to kind of agree with,
so what you're saying with where the previous photo, overlays the other. So if, 1 year, or we would say it's doing every 6 months. So in January, a person doesn't have a shed on their property. Now they do it again in July because of the overlay. Is that going to automatically flag like, hey, this shed might not belong here because...
Right, because there's a building polygon here that wasn't there before.
So even without somebody making a complaint like, hey, my neighbor, put in the shed, and then it's going to automatically tell you. So Big
So
Brother
you would
is really
have,
watching.
if you saw a highlight like that, you'd have to go to the, I'm just thinking out loud. You'd have to go to the files and say, yeah, hey, there was a permit pulled, no issue here.
I would go to the permitting system at my desk also, it's also automated, and see if the permit was pulled.
Right.
But if this was built to the same footprint, you would never know.
No, because nothing changed.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm kind of agree with Jeff, what Jeff said. I'm like 50-50. And I really think it's a good thing that you guys would have a tool like that to see that, because obviously you wouldn't want people building things all over the town that aren't permitted and stuff, because the people that do pay their permits, I 100% agree with that. But then it's almost, to me, it almost sounds like, it's almost like if you gave the police said, hey, we're going to be looking in your yard every month. We're going to be walking around your yard, and once a month, all of a sudden the police are walking around your backyard. It's like, well, we're here just to make sure everything's going okay. So, and that's kind of where I'm at. So it's almost like I'd like to table this and talk about it some more.
The reval company just does that. They go into everybody's yard and look and measure the house, so they do it anyways.
Right. So I hope you kind of understand where I'm coming from. It's like, I agree that it'd be a great tool, but at the same time, it's just kind of, I think we should almost just, can we table it till after?
Sure. It's a contingency transfer, so it doesn't, they wouldn't get the product until we vote on it, because we would have to make the transfer.
Yeah.
So if you want to have more discussion on it, we can table it and it can come back in January.
I would like to actually see what you're explaining here, what it really looks like, what you're explaining as far as the the way the photos would look and the diagram and all that.
We can call the company and get,
I'd like to
have the
discuss
dog and
it.
pony
I
show.
would like to discuss
We
it.
talked about, we could do a demo.
Can I make a motion to table it?
Would you like a demo at the next meeting?
Yeah, something like that, and we could talk more about, yeah, I'd like to make a motion to table it, yeah.
Do I have a second?
The second for me.
Okay. Motion to table by Counselor Goad, second by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Okay, so we'll put it on the January agenda, and if you can arrange to have a presentation, that would be great.
Thank you, Madam President.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mayor, Madam Mayor.
I like Madam President. I like that.
That's next step.
Okay.
Some foreshadowing right there. Yeah. He's part of the fix. See that? Madam President.
Okay.
Where's Obama?
Okay. Next item is approval of tax refunds. So moved.
Second.
Motion is made by Counselor Diamond, second by Counselor Palladino. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next item, citizen statements and petitions. Hearing none, we will go to adjournment.
Oh, motion adjourned?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah to everyone. Our next meeting will be in January. We go to one meeting a month.
God bless.
Thanks, folks. They're in my head. So even